What's up, everybody? This is Black Guy Senpai here, and today I am here with a special guest of mine. He has done something that I didn't think that he would do, but he did it. I was there. This is Miles Atchison. He got second place at ARG Ohio State's qualifier.
hmm
And what deck were you using, Miles?
I was playing Vanquisher, and if I recall correctly, we did a deck profile on this deck before, but things have changed since then.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. All right. So, if you want to go ahead, you take it away. Go ahead, go through your deck list.
Sure. Opening up, we're going to start off with the grade threes. We open up with Dragonic Vanquisher Sparking, best grade three in the deck. If you're not playing Sparking, you're bad at this deck. He's absolutely amazing. Gives you resources, fuels your retires, and yeah, just lets you set up really, really easy Thunder Strike. Then the other grade 3 that I run is Eradicator, Dragonic Descendant Sigma. I run two of those. Uh, he's not very useful on Vanguard Circle, but on Rearguard Circle, I like restanding Rearguards, and he's amazing. A lot of people don't realize that he doesn't require an Eradicator special counterblast. So, this happened actually during one of my matches. Somebody tried calling me out on that, and I said, no, he doesn't require Eradicator. The card is literally better in not Eradicators. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So,
And then finally, I run one copy of the original Dragonic Vanquisher. Don't really ever want to ride him. I just kind of like having 5 ride targets versus just having 4. One of the consistency things. You can change it out for another Sigma. I just like having the original.
okay. So, what do you do if you get what do you do if
Go
you
ahead.
get stuck on Sigma though?
If I get stuck on Sigma, I scoop. Not really. It's harder to play the game. You can still use Dragonic Vanquisher strides to sort of mitigate that. You just lose out on a lot of Thunderstrike ramp.
So basically, you'd just be doing that stuff for the name then at that
hmm
point. Okay. So that's why
Yeah.
the other Vanquisher is in there then.
hmm
Okay, but you really want Sparking. All right, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
Sparking is without a doubt the best grade 3 in the deck.
All right.
Moving on to twos, I run 3 Dragonic Berserker, Chatura, excuse me, I can't talk today. On hit pressure, it's a 1-card column, which is really important to the deck. And he provides draw power, and people will focus fire him so hard. A lot of people seem to be operating under the assumption that your deck lives and dies by Chatura. For whatever reason, they will just hear on hit skill and hard guard it, even if it's not going to be the end of the world.
I mean,
And it helps conserve hand that way, because you not only get the chance to plus, but they also swing at it, and you don't even need to guard it. The
well,
next card is a card that I totally thought was fan-made, because it was absolutely bonkers. Circular Blade of Strong Lightning Grizel. This card is fucking stupid. It should never have been made.
yeah,
This
I
card is
agree.
absolutely absurd.
I agree with you. It should not have been
Thunderstrike
made.
5, it's an 18k column, which is, side note, 18k is a very important number in Narukami. And it's can attack a rearguard as long as you're on Vanquisher, on top of also hitting the Vanguard simultaneously. It's board control, it's a big number, and it punishes the opponent for attacking or targeting it with effects. I mean, it's not an amazing punish. It doesn't, like, retire a thing, but binding something's cool in this deck.
Yeah, I heard.
It, it's absolutely stupid. Easily the best grade 2 in the deck.
Okay, so why do you think like this? I'm assuming you think this is the best grade 2 since sliced bread, right?
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
I mean, like even more so than Chatura.
Yes. Although I will, because Chatura is fantastic because people think he's better than he is.
Okay,
Like,
explain.
he's a good card, but he's definitely restricted because he can only attack Vanguard Circle. And there have been times where I went, wow, I really want to swing at Rearguard Circle with Chatura, but I just can't.
Okay, so let's say I'm playing resist force, and you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna use Grizel's skill to attack my rear guard. Will you be able to?
Yes, because it targets the circle.
Okay, cool. That's just clarification for a couple of people who might be wondering the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm. No, totally understandable. Fun little trivia about Grizel, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong here. But Grizel targets the circle before the attack because you have to pay the cost for in the axe step.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody were to say use some sort of, I guess, time leap style thing and move their rear guards around, but that circle is still occupied, even if it's a different rear guard, you still smack it.
Ooh.
So it's one of those little. It never came up, but I could see a situation where that could be interesting.
Okay.
And then the final grade 2 I run is 4 Martial Arts Dragon. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I run 3 Chatura, 4 Grizel, and 4 Martial Arts. Martial Arts is one of those cards that honestly seems underwhelming, and then you play it and it saves your life so many times.
Yeah.
The on-ride skill is really nice to have just to punish early game rush. And the Thunderstrike 2, yeah, it's a 12k attacker. That doesn't really mean much. Oh, wait, I run 6k base grade 1 boosters. That makes 18. Didn't I just say that 18 is a magic number?
Okay, so why is 18 a magic number in Narukami?
Because a lot of your things give 3k boost. So that 18 becomes a 21 very easily. Spoiler alert, I have a stride that gives 3 units 3k. So it's 21 columns for basically free is really, really good. One thing that some people might note is that all my grade 2s don't need a booster to hit an 11k Vanguard. Assuming you're at the appropriate Thunderstrike, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that I can conserve my hand size more for defense. Because what a lot of beginner Narukami players don't realize is that you are not an aggro rush deck. The longer the game goes on, the bigger your Thunderstrike gets, and the bigger your turn will become in the end. So the longer the game goes on, the better it is for you.
Okay.
So by playing slightly defensively in the early game, you're able to ensure that you have the defense to last till that magical kill turn.
All right, and what is that magical kill turn?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Oh,
we'll
no.
get to that very soon, I promise you.
All right.
So, grade 1s, I'm running 4 copies of Mighty Bolt Dragoon. Honestly, you could go down to 3. It is stride fodder, but the deck now doesn't have that big of an issue reaching cards in the deck because you have a lot of draw power now. But it's stride fodder. It's good. You need to stride. You're a stride-based deck. Please run stride fodder. The next card is a card that I didn't think was going to be as good as it was, but it's still really good, and that is Smashboxer Dragon. I run 4 of it.
I mean, it should be good. Look at the name. It's Smashboxer Dragon. How do you not feel awesome saying that name?
Oh, no, it's an amazing name. I just didn't think it was going to be a very good card. Some people might replace this for Chainbolt Dragoon, and I think that's a mistake. But anyway, Smashboxer Dragon is, if you boost a unit with the Thunderstrike ability, it gives the unit resist. And then Thunderstrike 3, you could shove it into the soul, countercharge 1, draw a card if you have a Vanquisher Vanguard. That's really hard to do in this deck. It's not like you run nothing but Vanquisher strides and such. But it's draw power, it's resources, it's soul, it's countercharge, it's everything you want, and it's a 7k base. And the resist does come in handy in several matchups, namely Kagero.
Fuck you.
A certain scrub kind of forgot about it, and he denial griffined, and he was very sad when I told him that.
I don't know who that is.
The next card that I run is 3 copies of Dragon Dancer Fatine. She's a 6k grade 1. And her skill is very simple. It's Thunderstrike 2, Soul Blast 1, draw a card. Notably, it is not Generation Break. So if you've managed to hit Thunderstrike 2 before Generation Break, she's a free draw. because she's a 6K base, having again Martial Arts Dragon with his Thunder Strike, also being Thunder Strike 2, become a 12K attacker, makes that 18K column. She's really good. And that's sort of why you run martial arts. Because you run Fatine, you run martial arts. And I know there's going to be somebody who mentions this, if you wanted to put in the card Chainbolt Dragoon, you would cut Martial Arts Dragon and then choose to run Voltage Horn Dragon. And that would give you a little bit more retire power instead of having a ride target and such. I don't think it's worth it, but it's worth noting that that is an option, and I've seen that build do some work.
Okay. So why did you opt against that?
I think that the martial arts and Fatine combination is more consistent because you get more draw power. Chainbolt and Voltage Horn combination. I feel that you already retire enough. You don't need that anymore. You also do a lot of graveyard binding now, thanks to a combination of VBUSTER, sparking, etc., etc. So you don't really need Chainbolt's additional binds. I can see it working in a certain meta where there isn't as much aggro running around. I mean, we are in a control meta, so it might be better now. But in a world where you still can get grade 2 rushed, I think that having martial arts to help punish that is really helpful.
Yeah, but we're about to come into Victor meta. Victor plus control meta.
This is going to be a really weird meta.
Yeah, it definitely will.
Anyway, the final grade 1 I run is 4 copies of Summon Lightning Dancing Princess Anastasia. She's a beautiful looking card, I might add. Mm-hmm. And she has a very easy skill of if you guard anything, it doesn't have to be just the Vanguard. You can discard a card and the attack won't hit. And then if you're at Thunder Strike 4, you draw a card. It's more deck filtering.
Yeah.
I want to point out that the best cards in the deck all came out at around the same time.
Really?
I want to say they all came out in literally the same set. Like, all of them. So, It's really, really, really funny to see how high the quality is spiked.
Yeah, I think the guy who was originally at Bushyroad came back and he was like, "All right, guys, I'm back from vacation. How's Narukami doing? Aquaforce is doing well. Overlords are still doing pretty good. How about that new Vanquisher thing I made up?" They're like, "Oh, it's pretty shit right now." He's like, "No, my babies."
Yeah, it's like, how did that become shit? I literally set you guys up for success, and you guys managed to mess it up in every single way. I'm sorry, you probably heard that there. That was my phone going off. Anyway, no, the latest support has it's like somebody came out of a coma and decided to make good cards for the clan. It's amazing.
Yeah, but they recently went back to sleep.
It's not just Vanquisher that's getting good stuff. It's also Descendant. It's also just Eradicators as a whole. I'm waiting for that Brawler support. I'm waiting for it.
It'll never happen.
I can dream.
Yeah.
But anyway, finally grade 0s. I'm running Hardrod Dracokid. Run this starter. I don't care what Narukami deck you're playing. You're running this starter. Oh. It is an amazing starter. Easy skill. You rest this unit. Your opponent binds something from the drop zone. If they can't, you give a Thunderstrike unit 3k. And then you countercharge 1. This is not GB. So you know when they're guarding your Chatura? Mm-hmm. Because they don't want to let that on-hit skill proc? Next turn, rest this, bind that card you guarded with.
Even on the first attack turn, like they won't have anything in the drop. Just be like, okay, I just want 3k more power. That's an extra.
Yeah.
Some cases that might even be an extra stage of guard if you went first and you have a 9k Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
And again, it helps out with that 18k being a magic number in Narukami type of deal. Its next skill is if you counterblast 1 and shove this unit into the soul, your opponent picks a rear guard and retires and binds it. And then you also get to choose another unit and give it plus 3k. Yeah, these two skills can happen simultaneously.
Yeah, fuck that.
So don't forget about that.
Fuck that noise. I don't like this card. Bushiro, please ban it. You banned fucking you banned Barkle.
Yeah.
This is worse.
Yeah, no, it's actually insane. This is another case of they revealed this card. I thought it was a joke, and then it turned out to be real. You're gonna hear that a couple of times in this video.
Oh god.
The next is Lightning of Return Reseph. This is the Vanquisher crit. It's really good. You run it because you like Draw and Soul. And that 5k does sometimes matter. And then I run 4 Draw. You don't need to run 4 Draw. I like it for the consistency. It just feels better in my eyes. It makes it just sort of the deck feel nicer in my eyes. But you can separate these out for either 4 more crit, 2 more crit, and 2 stand, or something like that. I would advise against going above 4 draw because you have so much jet filtering and draw power now that you can actually deck yourself out. That did happen to me in my final match, and I was really salty at myself.
Oh.
So be careful.
Okay, so that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. And then my next would be 4 of the Stand Trigger Dragon Dancer Vivian. I'm sorry. Stand triggers are good in Narukami because your rear guards get super, super huge. This is a stand trigger that recycles itself and gives you counter charge. Not a whole lot else to say. You will very rarely proc her, unfortunately, because you have a lot less actual retire. And just as a side note, there's an errata with her. There's a misprint on some copies of her that say when a card is sent to the drop. It's supposed to be when a card is sent to the drop via a card effect.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just swing at a rear guard and then proc it, which is unfortunate. The card would be absolutely stupid if that could happen. But you will very rarely proc it, but when it does go off, it cycles itself back, and it gets you resources back. It's really, really good.
So which cards in your main deck proc this card, actually, then?
Martial Arts Dragon, although you should never have that proc, to be perfectly honest, because they're both Generation Break. Or, I'm sorry, she's Generation Break and Martial Arts is not.
I mean, you could get Drachmud.
Yeah, you could. Like, it can happen. The only card that really reliably procs it is Sparking in the main deck, and that's with the Stride skill. And that's on Stride, you retire if you stride a Thunder Strike unit, your opponent picks a unit to retire, and then it binds. So you don't get to proc it too often, but why do I want to run any other stand trigger?
Yeah.
Like, she filters herself, and it's a really solid card. And finally, I run 4 copies of Meditate Dracokid. It's the special Narukami heal. Soul Blast 1, if you have only 1 damage face up or less, you get to countercharge 1. It's a good card. Resources, not a whole lot else to say. Yeah, that's really it for the main deck. Now we get to the fun part. The strides. So, first thing, card that I thought was freaking a joke when it came out. Conquering Supreme Dragon, Dragonic Vanquisher VBUSTER. This card is absolutely retarded. It's early game, it's late game, it's mid game, it's draw power, it's retire, it's give the board power, it's give your board crits, it's cool. Run 4. Like, the only downside about this card is, and if you don't know its ability, it's Soul Blast 1 and you flip a copy of it face up. Your opponent then picks a unit from the drop zone and binds it, and then picks a rear guard and binds it. Notice that it doesn't retire it first, so it doesn't proc Vian. So that's one downside to it. But if you somehow manage to have more rear guards than your opponent, you give 3 units 3,000 power. That's on your first stride. You've bound 2 things, proccing Thunderstrike 2, and given 3 units 3k. Again, 18k is a magic number for Narukami. And Generation Break 3, if you somehow manage to hit Thunderstrike 7, oh no, that's so hard with Vanquisher's Stride skill and VBUSTER's Stride skill and Starter. Your front row gains 5,000 power, and he gains a crit and a drive check.
Yeah.
Note that this Thunderstrike 7 ability does not require the Persona flip. So if you wanted to, you could just do a stride onto him just to get cards and keep a copy so you can keep getting the quad drive. Worth noting, very rarely will happen, mostly because your Generation Break 8 is absolutely ridiculous. Okay. But yeah, this is your first stride. 95% of the time. No questions asked.
Well, what situations would you use something else?
Your opponent has somehow managed to get through the entire game with no rear guards and nothing in drop zone.
So they're just taking damage?
They literally have face tanked everything. VBUSTER, fantastic card, run it at 4. Always. Absolutely always. Next card. 4 copies of Conquering Supreme Dragon, Dragonic Vanquisher Voltage. This is your magic kill card turn. Wait, magical kill turn card. Excuse me, I can talk.
Everybody can.
Never use this as a first stride. Ever. Unless you're in that weird 5% chance area, in which case you can if you really want to. But the way this card works is that Generation Break 3, for every unit in your opponent's bind zone, your front row gains 3,000 power. It also has an on-hit skill of if it hits, your opponent picks a unit to retire, then you get to go through there, drop and bind 2 more things. Important thing to note, it's an axe skill, so don't forget to pay the goddamn cost of flipping a copy. Other thing to note is that the power gaining ability is a continuous effect. So in a world where a lot of the new heal triggers are saying bind this and another copy of it from the drop zone, that's an extra 6k to your columns.
Yep, that's another stage of attack.
Yep, this card is ridiculous in the late game. If you hit Thunderstrike 7-ish, and your opponent's at 5 damage, by all means go into this instead of going into your second VBUSTER. This card wins you games.
Jeez.
The next card that I run is 2 copies of Conquering Supreme Dragon, Dragonic Vanquisher Vmax. Honestly, this card is pretty good, but not for the reason that a lot of people think it is. The way this card works is for every face-up copy of a Vanquisher G unit you have face-up, this unit can attack a rear guard. And then Thunderstrike 5, if your opponent has no rear guards, you counterblast 2 and you hit them with the damage. This can be 6 damage, and that did happen once.
So,
I think I've literally gotten that to happen literally once, and not for lack of trying.
So, basically, you can dust somebody.
Yep. Basically.
All right.
Old dust. Because remember, dust got eroded. Because people are whiny.
Well,
but,
yeah.
The big reason that I run 2 copies of this is A, I have 2 SGRs of it, and it's really shiny. And B, it is one of the few forms of targeted removal that Narukami has. So if your opponent has some pesky rear guards that happen to have resist, this targets the rear guard circles, and you just punch them all. So it is a handy control tool. You very rarely will be in a situation where it is better to try to kill a person with this over voltage. This is not your kill button. Voltage is your kill button, and sometimes VBUSTER. This can kill a person, but you shouldn't be playing to kill a person with this.
I mean, it's pretty much, I think, in comparison, it's comparable to Wailing Thalvis.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
'Cause
it is useful for the removal it brings, and it still has pressure to it. But you will very rarely kill a person off of that pressure. And then finally, I have 1 copy of Conquering Supreme Dragon, Closer Dragon. This is the Generation Break 8. It retires and binds everything on the board, including your own stuff, so sad face for that. But then your opponent binds their entire drop zone. And then all your rear guards gain 2,000 power for each unit in the bind zone.
Yeah.
So, hypothetical stride order would go something like VBUSTER, Voltage, GB8, and then voltage again, or something to that effect. Because at this point, your columns are swinging for easily over 100,000. And this is why it's very important to keep rear guards in hand that you're willing to put out, and don't go hand to board. Because if you don't have rear guards, Narukami is really, really weak.
Yeah, it gets rid of most of their pressure.
Mm-hmm. And I run one copy of Sebreeze. Honestly, I'm probably going to cut this. I have never used it. Ever. If someone wants to play the Grade 2 game, I have a lot of non-GB related stuff on Grade 2. If someone's playing the Grade 1 game, then Sebreeze isn't going to do anything anyway. I get why people run it, but I have never been in a situation where I went, yeah, Sebreeze wins me this game.
Yeah, and like I've been saying the same thing for a while, like because of ripples. Like when I was playing ripples, like I did not give two shits whether or not they Sebreezed me. You wasted 2 counterblasts to try to quote unquote push my damage. But guess what? I'm sitting here on an 11k base that can restand my rear guards, and you have like 2-3 cards in hand, and I'm just like ha 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 ha. Yeah,
and I get it. If you triple drive into good stuff, okay, I get it. And yes, it turns on your generation break, but it doesn't fuel your Thunderstrike directly. It doesn't do a whole lot. And while you do have a lot of resource management tools in Narukami, losing 2 counterblast all at once is still gonna hurt. So I might consider cutting this out. Truth be told, I should cut 1 Vmax for another G Guardian, but before I cut Sebreeze, if I'm being quote-unquote meta with this deck. But I don't know. I've never been enamored with Sebreeze in this deck. Other decks, yes. This one, not so much. Okay. And then G Guardians. So, I run 2 copies of Sky Guardian, Supreme Dragon, Impede Dragon. It's, this is the closest thing you have to Denial Griffin. It's the Generation Break G Guardian, and at the end of the battle, when you guard with it, your opponent picks a rear guard to retire and bind, and then if they have 2 or more rear guards than you, they pick another one to just flat out retire. So this can also be a 1 card to retire type of situation, which is very nice. It also means that if your opponent swings with Vanguard, you intercept with your 2 rear guards. They're not rear guards anymore, they're guardians, and then you drop this down, you're able to maybe make those numbers work for that second retire. People try to play around it really, really hard, and the way you play around it is you commit to board, which then gets blown up by your stride skill, by Vmax swinging at it, by all of your retiring shenanigans. So it's a very mean card in this deck. You also run 1 copy of Sky Guardian, Supreme Dragon, Bulwark Dragon. This is shitty Denial Griffin. You don't run it for the Thunderstrike 4. You run it for it's a Thunderstrike 3 25k shield. It's a good for that. The Thunderstrike 4 ability is nice when it goes off, because for every 4 units that are in your opponent's bind zone, you pick a unit, or your opponent picks a unit at rest in the front row and kills it. So it's nice for that. But you pretty much will almost always use it predominantly for the 25k shield, not for the retire. And then 1 copy of Dark Element Dizmel. Your rear guards are important. Protect them dearly.
I mean, it'd be nice if you guys had a Iohannis, wouldn't it?
Yep. Fun little trivia, or fun little thought that just occurred to me, is that because VBUSTER came out, your Thunderstrike became super easy to manage and to obtain, which made Vmax better, which made voltage better, which made everything else better. Literally, VBUSTER, the Hardrod Dracokid, Grizel, and Smashboxer all came out at the same time, alongside the new Perfect Guard, all in the same set, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
They made the deck absolutely insane to play. It may not be top tier, but it is an absolute blast to play.
Well, I mean, you did pretty well with it.
Yeah,
So,
I did. I did do pretty well.
so,
And I guess that'll be the end of the deck profile portion, at least.
well, I have one question about your deck.
Mhm.
Now there's something from what a lot of hyper competitive people might say is missing from your deck.
Mhm.
Um, uh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Drachma. There we go. Why no Drachma?
A, I didn't have him. B, I didn't feel like he did anything for the deck. Remember, I said that the deck was a late game deck.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the time when you could Drachma, you could also Vmax somebody, you could also voltage somebody. And that will usually have a comparable effect of your opponent panics and goes hand to board. So if you were to fit Drachma in the deck, you could either cut Sebreeze or cut the GB8, and then you could throw in Drachma.
Well, why
I
not?
don't think you need Drachma in the deck, but you can run him.
So why wouldn't you cut the second VMAX?
I think the board control without losing your GB is really important.
Okay. All right. Just wondering what your process was.
Yeah, no, it's the second copy of VMAX is there so was there, I should say, for when we didn't have VBUSTER. And so I could have another Dragonic Vanquisher name face up so that I could hit more things with the second one. That was the whole reasoning behind it. It's not quite as necessary now, but again, because VBUSTER is out, it's easier to hit that Thunderstrike 5, it's easier to have those Vanquisher names face up. So it doesn't hurt as badly to run more copies of this.
Okay. All right. That's cool. Yeah. Like I said, I was just wondering your process on this.
No, I think everyone can agree with me when I say that Drachma is absolutely the worst Zeroth dragon.
I mean, if you ask Darren, he'll say Megiddo just to get under my skin, but whatever.
Yes, I know. But Drachma can win you a game for sure. But every time when you could Drachma and win the game, Voltage, VMAX, VBuster, or GB or Closer Dragon would probably do the same thing. At least in my opinion.
Okay. All right. So, got a couple questions for you.
Yep.
Who would you say is your waifu in the deck between either the PG, Smashboxer, um, Fatine,
Really?
Fatine, or Sparking?
Okay. I'd probably have to give it to Fatine there. She's so giving. She stays on the board, unlike Smashboxer.
Oh, so
And she's just really adorable, and she's so underrated in the deck.
so if Smashboxer didn't leave you and make you feel like an abandoned child, then you would say Smashboxer.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. All right. But seriously though, how do you feel Bushiroad handled the amount of support and the quality of the support that Narukami have gotten throughout the entire G era?
Throughout the entire G era, until literally the latest support, they got shafted. Mostly because they did. I think Bushiroad was trying to make them Narukami not be, pardon my French here, shitty Kagero.
Oh, and they are shitty Kagero.
But now they at least have their own identity. And you can literally see the point where somebody said, we're going to make good support, and it all happened all at once. So while the overall trend of support has been relatively weak, there has definitely been a huge spike, at least as of late. And I'm very excited to see what they're going to do. If they keep the trend, or we're going to keep being in the shadow of Kagero here.
Well, I mean, they're about to start over with a new series and new mechanic, and I mean, Stride's not going to be. I don't think Stride's going to be irrelevant then. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, like, it's going to be a whole new round of support that, like, non quote unquote non character main clans or whatever
Yeah.
are going to have to wait for, like Aquaforce, Spike Brothers, OTT, Genesis, stuff like that. But like Royals and probably Gears and Blasters, because everybody knows Blasters are the real Royal Paladins.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
I'm scared of the gear matchup once this latest set drops because Heritage looks balanced, but
Well, I mean that's cool, but I'm gonna still be dropping that. I'm gonna be dropping those Geese token Ranbu on everybody.
alrighty.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see how that works out.
Yeah, that's true. Any other questions?
Yeah, just the last question. So basically, with like Gridora, Overlord, Messiahs, well, not so much Messiahs. Basically, it's just like Overlord, Ghidorah, and Chaos. Because those are like right now, as of this moment, the day before the Stargate booster releases, the most prominent decks that are control decks in the meta. Like why Vanquisher? Like without you could play like Resist Force and get around all that stuff.
Yeah, truth be told, I just like the sort of inevitability of Narukami. Narukami is, or at least Thunderstrike, I should say, is a ticking time bomb. It doesn't matter what matchup it is. It is a ticking time bomb, and it just needs to wait until it goes off. Because once it goes off, I'm swinging at you with 100k columns that may or may not restand off of stand triggers or Descendant skill. Well, I guess I could take that on one at a time here. In the Ghidorah matchup, I admittedly have very little experience in it, but that is one of the few matchups where having Vmax being able to effectively board wipe a person was absolutely huge. Because it turns into you just grind out all of their overwhelms, and then you just blow them up because you're Thunder Dragons, and you do that. In the Kagero matchup, now granted, the Kagero player I faced twice in the tournament was absolute garbage, and he totally forgot about a lot of my skills.
Fuck you.
In case it wasn't clear, I faced Black Guy Senpai here. But in that matchup, it becomes more of, can I survive your retires while still maintaining a hand? Because my retires are more punishing because I gain permanent advantage from it. Because I bind your stuff, and then I get permanent power boost whenever I go into my good strides.
Yeah, like Kagura, like and this is like completely about your Sparky Boom Boom dragons, but like Kagura are starting to get that permanent like effect because they have the those 2 grade 2s they just came out with that are like, okay, we're gonna start giving them like, hey, if you get more damage, give them plus 2k for that. But
no, I think that's really interesting the direction they're going with that.
Yeah.
But even still, even if I'm at 5 damage, you're probably at Thunderstrike 7 at that point.
Yeah, around.
And voltage is plus 21k to the entire board, or entire front row, excuse me.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big discrepancy in the amount of pressure that we reach eventually.
Denial Griffin, I don't care. Anyway.
Yeah, Smashbox here.
Alright.
But, also, side note, again, please be careful if you're facing this deck and you decide to use, the special heal triggers that bind themselves.
Yeah, don't do that.
Black Guy Senpai kind of forgot about that.
Yep, don't do that. Don't do that. Do not do that.
And then, what was the third one? You said Chaos Breaker?
Yeah, Chaos.
Chaos is sort of odd. I faced it a couple of times, but I've never felt like, yes, they lock your board, and yes, they retire your board. But you have enough pressure off of your Vanguard that you can survive till they eventually sort of, I don't want to say run out of steam, but the locks will start to lessen. And then you could use that one opening to really press in on them.
Okay.
It's a bit hard to describe, but eventually it's a similar case to Kagura, where I gain permanent advantage off of my control, and my control is permanent.
Yeah, because like I think the point of chaos now is just like, now I'm talking about like the stuff that's coming out like in 6 hours and 25 minutes from us.
Yeah, no.
Because we're Eastern. Like Closer Dragon is just like, all right, I pay the cost for Stride by discarding 3 Chaos Breaker Close. Call 3 cards from your hand locked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
You really just need to grind that matchup out.
Yeah,
because you can do one of two things then. You either make it so that they don't have any offensive units to hit you with, because you've killed all their grade 2s repeatedly, or they literally deck themselves out. Or you kill them. Just flat out kill them because they can't maintain their locks.
Well, murder is illegal in all states.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Okay.
But no, I don't want to say that Narukami has a good matchup into all of these, because there are definitely points where Narukami is weaker than the other control clans, but there is a definite point where they are astronomically stronger than them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so they're the gatekeeper into whatever the tier is over them.
I would hesitate to call them that because, well, I guess you could call them that now that you have all this support.
Yeah, because I think like there's a certain, and I believe in tier lists, quote unquote, very loosely, but you can tell which decks are better than other decks, and I think like Narukami should definitely be like, and I'm not like knocking them in any way, shape, or form, but like they should be like the entry gate. You can't beat this. You need this amount of skill level to beat this deck from a good player. Because like I know there's a lot, but that could be almost said about any deck. But like there's a certain skill level you need to have to be able to play around this deck consistently. And
this deck definitely punishes poor decision making, because if you decide to try to kill me and you fail and you don't have a hand to stop my revenge, you're going to regret it terribly.
Yeah.
More so than a lot of other clans.
Yeah, like I don't know, but I just think that like Narukami is like the bar in my opinion. But hey, I'm just some black guy who tries to play card games. That's cool though.
Yep.
All right,
so question.
Will we be seeing you in Chicago?
Probably, yeah. I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing this, or I might dust off some other random deck I have.
Token Rambu!
I am not going to play Token Rambu until we get the goddamn legend decks that make it good.
Just put Geese in it.
I am not playing Geese Rambu.
Oh, come on. We could be Geese Bros.
Let me rephrase. I will play Geese Rambu if they give Token Rambu a Zeroth Dragon.
That'll never happen.
Yeah, I know. We don't even have a GB8.
I mean, Geese technically is your it's your Zeroth Dragon.
I mean, okay, fine. I guess you're right. Even though it's not a Zeroth Dragon. It's literally Geese.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
which reminds me, people in the comments, Black Guy Senpai and I had a little bit of a wager when we went to this ARG, where if I placed higher than him, he had to do something by my count.
Yep.
And vice versa in the other way. But he's offered an interesting proposition to not be forced to write a 7-page paper now because I placed higher than you?
No. It wouldn't be 7. It'd be 6.
It'd be a 6-page paper.
Yeah.
A 6-page paper, single-spaced 11 font, over how Token Rambu is the best clan in the game.
Oh, God.
By saying that he would play Token Rambu... What was it? Geese Token Rambu?
Yeah, Geese Token Rambu.
At locals until he places first, is what you said?
Until I win. I will not play another clan.
Until he places first at locals. So, whether which punishment do you think he should have? Let us know.
Yeah.
We'll make it into your guys' decision, because honestly, both sound hilarious to have happen.
Yeah, because one just punishes my wallet, the other one punishes my spirit.
Yep.
And,
Hey, at least I didn't say you have to talk about how terrible Aquaforce is in comparison to Token Rambu.
oh god, no. I would literally be 5 pages of that, just blah 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 blah. Token Ranbu.
But anyway, any other questions?
No, but I do want to say thank you guys for watching or listening, because there's not really going to be any pictures, just deck list. Miles, do you have any? If anybody wants to reach you or ask you questions, is there any way they can reach you?
I'll put myself in the comments section of this video here, and you guys can spam me and tell me how bad I am at this game or something. Because YouTube.
Yeah, of course. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. If you have anything you want to say in the comments about the punishment, about his deck choices, about anything that you think that you could probably do to make the deck better, go ahead, put it in there. Or even if you have an idea for a Geese Token Rambu deck, put the deck list in the comments. I am going to do a special sleeve giveaway. They're going to be Geese sleeves.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and it's gonna be in the next 2 videos. So the only way you'll be able to get the sleeves is, like, 1, you are subscribed, and 2, you put a comment down in here listing. Yeah, you put a comment down there listing a name for the Geese Token Rambu deck, and whoever's deck list name gets chosen, that's who's gonna win the sleeves.
Oh God. Okay.
So if you've listened this far, hey, guess what? You got a chance at getting some sleeves. All right. So anyway, I've been Black Guy Senpai. This has been Miles. We're out, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace out.